Could the recent deepening in defense ties between India and the West signal a shift in India's stance towards Russia? This is a compelling question demanding our attention. In recent times, India has significantly bolstered its defense cooperation with NATO partners. This strategic move has sparked conversations among analysts globally, with many speculating that India may be subtly distancing itself from its long-term ally Russia. However, it's crucial to remember that India has a reputation for maintaining a balanced foreign policy. Throughout the years, it has managed to walk a diplomatic tightrope, avoiding direct criticism of Russia, even in the midst of the ongoing war in Ukraine. India's approach to international relations has always been characterized by its strategic autonomy. It has consistently prioritized its national interests and security above all else, which is likely why it continues to maintain a neutral position on contentious global issues. So, while the deepening of defense ties with the West certainly marks a significant development in India's defense strategy, it doesn't necessarily signal a shift in its stance towards Russia. Despite this, India's neutral position on the war in Ukraine remains consistent and unlikely to change. India, the world's largest buyer of arms, significantly relies on Russia for its defense equipment. This dependence has been formed over decades with a partnership that's been mutually beneficial. However, the landscape is changing, and with it, the dynamics of this relationship. The ongoing war in Ukraine has thrown a spanner in the works, creating significant hurdles for the Russian defense industry. This, in turn, has affected the delivery of weapons to India, a situation that has far-reaching implications. This disruption is not just creating a deficit in India's defense equipment, but is also opening doors to potential opportunities. The situation might lead to a greater engagement with Western countries, who have been long trying to establish stronger defense ties with India. This isn't just about filling an immediate gap. It's also about the long-term strategic benefits that these relationships could bring to the table. Yet the shift isn't as easy as flipping a switch. The dependence on Russian arms is deep-rooted and can't be replaced overnight. Furthermore, the complex geopolitics of the region adds another layer of complication. While the West might see this as an opportunity to sway India, the reality is far more nuanced, but it must be noted that India is seeking to diversify its arms imports and strengthen its domestic production capacities. This isn't a knee-jerk reaction to the current situation, but a long-term strategy aimed at reducing dependence on any single country. In the world of defense and geopolitics, it's always wise to have more than one ace up your sleeve. India is not just looking to diversify its arms imports. It has a grander vision, a vision that spans a quarter of a century, a vision that aims to transform India from a major arms importer to a leading defense manufacturing hub. This ambition is fueled by the desire to strengthen India's position within the Indo-Pacific region and to offer a viable alternative to traditional arms suppliers like the US, Europe, China, and Russia. To achieve this, India is working on multiple fronts. It's not merely about assembling weapons, it's about creating an ecosystem that fosters innovation, technology transfer, and self-reliance. A vibrant defense manufacturing sector can spur economic growth, generate employment, and contribute significantly to the country's GDP. Moreover, it's about asserting India's role in the global arena. Achieving this objective could mean a shift in the global defense market dynamics. It could challenge the existing monopolies and provide nations with more choices. This ambition goes beyond economic benefits. It's about strategic autonomy, national security, and geopolitical influence. It's a challenging path, no doubt, with numerous hurdles to overcome. But if there's one thing that the history of India has shown us, it's that when India sets its sights on a goal, it has the tenacity and the will to achieve it. India is clearly strategizing to become a major player in the global defense industry. It's a long-term game, a marathon, not a sprint. And as we've seen, India is not averse to running marathons. So where does all this leave us in understanding India's defense strategy? Firstly, we've seen how India is deepening its defense ties with the West. This is a significant shift, as it indicates a desire to diversify its defense relationships, moving away from a historical reliance on Russia. Yet, despite this shift, India has maintained a consistent and neutral stance on the Ukraine war, deftly avoiding any direct criticism of Russia. Secondly, we've touched upon India's significant dependence on Russian arms. As the world's largest buyer of arms, India has traditionally relied heavily on Russia for its defense equipment. However, the conflict in Ukraine has created hurdles for the Russian defense industry to deliver weapons to India, suggesting a potential window of opportunity for greater engagement with Western countries. Thirdly, we've discussed India's ambitious goal to become a defense manufacturing hub over the next 25 years. This aspiration not only aims to strengthen India's position within the Indo-Pacific region, but also provides an alternative to traditional arms suppliers like the US, Europe, China, and Russia. In conclusion, even as New Delhi seeks diversification in its defense relationships and deepening ties with the West, India's neutral position on the war in Ukraine is consistent and unlikely to change. This is a testament to India's strategic diplomacy and its vision for a robust defense industry.